our students at Yule Brook College go from years 8 to 10 and then over to Sevenoaks for years 11 and 12. At the moment, our students feel a bit of a disconnect between year 10 and year 11. There's quite a long distance for them to travel, and it's very hard for a lot of them, after being in a supportive community like Yule Brook, to make the transition over to the adult world where they're really quite responsible for their own education. So our idea through our innovation strategy was to connect the two communities together, and not just the students but the families as well, because at Yule Brook we enrol our families as well as our students. And we know that Sevenoaks does the same thing. They work really well with their families. But somewhere in between, we have this little bit of a loss where some students don't make it over and don't make it all the way through out the other end into meaningful employment. And so as part of our Aboriginal Innovation School strategy, we want to fix that. We want to plug that hole and make sure that every student has a chance to be a successful student.
With Yule Brook being such a close-knit community, they can sometimes have a bit of trouble moving on to something else. It's a bit daunting for them. So I think it's important to make them comfortable going somewhere else and show them that that link is still there between us and the other school.
Well, the transition between Yule Brook and Sevenoaks was pretty daunting at first. I mean, you come from a small high school where you go from year 8 to 10, but the jump from year 10 to year 11, it's pretty huge, as in the workload just increases exponentially.
So with Yule Brook, because we don't have the middle school students here, we initiated this program where the students would drive over to Sevenoaks and get tutoring at Sevenoaks. It started in the early days when we went out into the community and spoke to Mamba Aboriginal Corporation, because we felt that the program had to be owned by the community, and to get that community engagement in place was absolutely vital so that parents and community members could feel an ownership of the program and want their students to belong, to follow the dream.
Our program is about working with young Indigenous men. We use their passion, their existing passion for football, to attract them to school. And talking of transition, we found that when the kids finished here, the Indigenous boys that were part of the program, they were actually dropping out of school when they finished here in year 10 because they didn't want to go off to other schools. We soon learnt that became a big problem. That bridge was blocked. So we started the program up at Sevenoaks, so we put a Clontarf program in Sevenoaks. We make it a big thing in Term 4 to make sure that all of our boys that move across to Sevenoaks have met the teachers that they're going to have the following year, have them all enrolled in the appropriate courses that suit them, and again have gone across to visit our staff, work out how they might get to school next year, and work out any of that pastoral care issues that might happen before they arrive there the following year.
Well, we got some transition processes in place at the moment where the students are going to come to me and before they leave year 10, and I'm going to link up with them, for a few hours per week, and I'm going to also link up with their parents. And at the end of each year, I'll link up with the AEIOs from the school, and we sit down and we go through all the students. And the ones that I don't know, I usually ring up and I usually meet them before the next year. And it also gives us a good idea of what students are at risk. It gives us a good idea as to what families we're going to be working with in the following year.
We have common programs. One's Clontarf football program, one is the Follow the Dream program, and both of those have had success and took a lot of notice of why they were successful, and that was really important to see how the students in those programs came from Yule Brook and then adapted into Sevenoaks. And it appears because we had common people working across the two schools on those programs, I think there was a sense of knowing from the perspective of the Aboriginal students, and they felt a lot more comfortable then coming into Sevenoaks. And the families as well, they are really important to know that their children are coming into an environment that they feel is safe.
The linkages between both schools now is a positive pathway. I think the other thing too is what I've heard from some of the kids in talking with them is they see this as the transition point of the foundation years of high schooling, but certainly then having their final 2 years elsewhere, but then the opportunity to go into either tertiary pathways or into trades. I think you've created a mindset that anything is achievable and that it doesn't just stop here at Yule Brook, it also crosses over.
Then the big picture philosophy, of course, is all about that transitioning to adult life from the beginning, where it's about becoming confident as a young person, and then using those skills in different environments to actually make a difference. So when our kids go into workplaces, we expect them to be a part of the workplace and not to be someone in the background sweeping floors, but to actually become a part of that environment.
The school was having issues with the attendance of the girls being quite low. In general, it was about half of what the boys' attendance was, and so the Girls' Academy was created to draw the girls to coming to school. The Girls' Academy is an attendance and mentoring program. We concentrate on developing the girls' self-esteem and their sense of belonging at the school.
We were looking for a project that assisted Indigenous people in the community, and also what we thought was so important about this project was that it was transitioning young girls through from year 10 through to year 12, and it's so important that they get that education to take them forward into the community.
So Girls Academy is working well for us, but I guess we want to extend it so it's working as well as the Clontarf Academy, where we have one at both schools. So we need something to transition those girls. Once they have left the Girls Academy at Yule Brook College, what do they have? So we want to extend that across to Sevenoaks as well.
Well, we do have a young mums program operating, and we found that there's many of our students come in pregnant and they leave, within, normally in about year 11, and we set this program up with with the principal, and this is a program of ours. It's an annex off-site, which is better suits the students. And yesterday we had about 8 parents, 2 grandparents, 7 kids, 8 kids, and we had 2 dads. So it is very successful at the moment.
It is a complex world for them, and at times they don't possibly have readily available access to services which can support them. So this was something which we talked about trying to get an extended services type of model between the 2 schools which can connect in, whether it be community agencies, health agencies, but to have again a common set of agencies which would be able to support the students, albeit that both schools have an extensive range of contacts already that we use, but it'd be really nice to bring that all together into a model that it has a key strategic purpose to support the students on their way.
We undertook this project that we have, to come out and do a project with a school each year going forward, and this one's to of course reticulate this football over, which you can see is pretty dry and pretty hard. It's really good for us because it means that we can give back a little bit to the community, and also it gives some of the younger guys that work for us, like Mark, who's going to project manage it, and Brandon, who's going to be our community relations manager on the project, the opportunity to get some really good experience in projects. So for us, it's a great opportunity, and it's a good way to contribute and give back to Yule Brook.
There's just a lot of organisations, but I look after quite a lot of them, but there's other people who are involved with different ones as well. So some of it's a bit all over the place, and it means that sometimes one person doesn't know what another person's doing, and so perhaps we're not being as efficient with those resources as we could be, or tapping into them as much as we could be.
We've probably got over 100 agencies that we have used and our staff have used. What we're looking at there is creating a database that's going to be consistent across the school. We're going to be writing to all our agencies before the end of this term, inviting them to provide some services and finding out what they can do. What we found with our communities when they were surveyed, they were very clear, and probably the top priority was having their children having greater access to delving into their Aboriginal heritage and their culture, and having a place where that could be done.
Our common theme was the cyberbullying. It seems to be a big problem at both the schools at the moment. So that's where we're actually going to start. We're going to start running a cyberbullying and a computing course just in one of the buildings at Yule Brook College. Obviously, we haven't been able to find a place yet or a centre. We're looking into that. So we are going to start running workshops and see how they go while we're still trying to work out where we can place our cultural centre.
And these are the bits where we've got stuck, the tricky bits. There's quite a distance between our schools, so it takes about 20 minutes to drive to Sevenoaks or to Yule Brook, depending on where you're starting. So that's an issue that we have, getting kids and families to different places. Sevenoaks has other feeder schools. We're a small fish in their big pond, so they've got other things to worry about apart from us. So time is an issue. Staff at both schools don't know each other very well, and we don't know what we do. We're sure that each of our other school does a good job, but there's always that little bit of uncertainty and not knowing. Finding the right services and organisations to connect to, because we haven't got the problem that of finding them as country towns do. We've got thousands and thousands of them in Perth. We just have to find the right ones that work for us, that work with our community.
I think this year has really been a planning year, but certainly the services, the coordinated services type concept to help us has been valuable, because obviously this is a lot of planning has to go into it, and it has to be done well, because if we don't connect the communities in and get the families on side, it will fall apart.
I'd like to see more schools combined together so that they can all use their ideas, both in educating, training and development and opportunities for our children. They can all follow one stream or another, but know that there are different opportunities and places they can go to do it. Look at the avenues that are going to open up and the advantages. Too many believe they don't have family, and they've got the biggest families around in our Aboriginal community. They stretch from down here to the top end and right around. I'm very proud of that fact, and I can claim all of them.